Did you know that in 2015, the total number of illiterate adults reached 745.1 million? Yes, 745.1 million. That is more than twice the population in Egypt. Did you know that around the world, 59 million children of primary school age are being denied an education, and almost 65 million adolescents are without access to a secondary school? A high number of children and adults do not have access to education for many different reasons. 1, they might not have the means to pay for their education. 2, there isn't a school in their neighborhood. And 3, they have to take part in vocational or labor activities to bring income into the family. Quality education is a term that is used very widely in our everyday conversations. We hear it on the radio, we see it in newspapers, and we might even hear our parents discussing it. But what does this phrase really mean? What does it mean when I say that I am advocating for quality education, or that every single child deserves quality education? Many people believe that the definition of quality education is an excellent school or education institution. This is why many schools and education institutions say that they provide quality education. And this is correct, but only at the surface level. Quality education is much deeper than that. Quality education is a lot deeper than the fact that you can produce brilliant results from your students or that you boast of a high number of graduates. According to ASCD, the Association of Supervision and Curriculum Development, quality education is one that focuses on the whole child, the social, emotional, mental, physical, and cognitive development of each student, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or geographic location. It prepares the child for life, not just for testing. I remember that at a very young age, I've always wanted to help. I wanted to be the reason that someone's situation was improved, or the reason why there was a smile on another person's face. When I was in year 6 at the age of 10, I volunteered along with some friends to teach at a primary school in Makoko, Lagos, Nigeria. For some context, this school was situated in a very dilapidated environment. We taught there for a couple of days, and the subjects that we focused on were maths, English, and science. I must confess that the opportunity to teach at Makoko was an eye-opening, mind-shifting game changer to my 10-year-old self. I had a first-hand glimpse at what a poor education system looked like, and the experience exposed me to many life lessons. I learned things that I would not have been able to learn if not for that experience. It was an unforgettable one. In fact, I still look back on it sometimes and I get teary-eyed. I learned that education should be a priority. I learned that there is power in the fact that you can pass knowledge onto one person who passes it on to another person. Most importantly, I learned that children love to learn. In fact, children really, really want to learn, but, and here is the but, they don't have the opportunity to. And when the opportunity does present itself, it's subpar. So what exactly is the problem? Why is it that some children are spending all their time working in a shop rather than being in school learning? Or why is it that almost every day when we take a drive out, we see young children on the streets hawking instead of being in a school, broadening their minds? Or the fact that when a child even gets to go to school, it's in a run-down building that isn't sanitary, neither is it safe. Do we not see a problem with the fact that around 617 million youth worldwide lack basic mathematics and literacy skills? The United Nations says, and I quote, that education enables upward socioeconomic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. Lack of access to education is one of the major reasons why poverty is passed from one generation to another. Global Citizen says that increasing access to education can equalize communities and help to provide financial stability to some. A lot of families live in poverty, so they have to make the very important decision on whether to send their children to school or pay for basic necessities, and most times the latter choice is made, which is very understandable. Hence, some countries across the sub-Saharan Africa, where some of the world's poorest children live, made a combined effort to abolish school fees. Statistics from Global Citizen state that while the ratio of students completing lower secondary school increased in the region from 23% in 1990 to 42% in 2014, enrollment is still low compared to the 75% global ratio, which simply means that school still remains too expensive for the poorest of families. In many areas where there is a lot of crisis and they are still underdeveloped, unaffordable private schools may be the only option. So now many people have started to argue that free schools should be allocated in some countries where there are no schools or where the schools are not in good shape. There are 3 key pillars that support quality education. 1, access to quality teachers. 2, use of quality learning tools and professional development, which includes access to technology. And 3, the establishment of safe and supportive quality learning environments. These 3 criteria must be met. The concept behind us achieving quality education is that it must be a collaborative effort. The government, the private sector, corporate organizations, and all citizens have a role in achieving this goal. But the first step would be to acknowledge the fact that quality education is an important part of sustainable development. To not be blindsided by our own personal comfort, but to be aware. For us to not think that because this does not directly affect us, we just sit down and do nothing. We must remember that without quality education, the citizens do not grow to their fullest potential, and this snowballs into society is stagnant. For us to not think that because this does not directly affect us, we just sit down and do nothing. Desmond Tutu said, inclusive, good quality education is a foundation for dynamic and equitable societies. We must remember that without good quality education, the citizens do not grow to their fullest potential, and this snowballs into society is stagnant. Thank you.
I bet you thought that was all we had for you today, but that's definitely not even a tip of what we have planned for today. Right now, we'll be listening to one of MeadowHall's phenomenal lyricists, Myra Ruth, as she comes to give us her very own rap rendition.